All right, I'm Pat.
All right, we're good. I'm Jeffrey.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Need a little bit more oomph on the back end here.
Not a problem, man. You're the guy, dude. Make it happen.
I'm doing what I can, man.
Yeah.
So, fucking updates. There we go.
I'm sorry.
Check.
Yeah.
That should work.
Okay.
That thing is turned up, right?
I think so.
I can't even see. Check. Okay, whatever.
All right.
It'll either be horrifying or it'll be perfect.
You see the little thing moving, right?
The little thing
Yeah.
is moving, yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, and we have no William tonight. Even though he'd be in the rotation normally.
No, he's vacationing, and that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
is cool.
Yeah.
So, Labor Day snuck up on me this year. So,
I didn't know about it until he said snuck up, but I mean, yeah, I didn't even really think about it until this week. When a couple of things that I normally do got like shifted around.
I only noticed it when my bills started coming due at the end of the month.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I was
All
like,
right.
holy shit, August is over, man. So cool.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was more so like the vet. They were like, "Hey, we kind of want to move things around a little bit because we have to shift some appointments to like, from Monday to Tuesday and stuff like that." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's fine." Like,
Oh,
why?
because of the
I was like,
holiday.
what's the problem?
Yeah, got it.
They're like, well, it's the holiday. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't pay attention. I don't care. And then, yeah.
No, Jeff, all days are holidays.
They say that, but I work most of them then, so.
Oh, yeah. You work
That
all the
regard.
holidays, yeah. So, no, I'm actually off for the first time ever.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, they just rejiggered the schedule a little bit, and so I guess that was a concession prize. So you get Labor Day off. I was all set to go to work tomorrow, too. So.
See, Labor Day would be one of those days that I did get off, from the rig. Because I'd be like, hey, why don't you take Christmas and Thanksgiving and
I'll take Labor Day.
family holidays? Well, they're just kind of like, you haven't been taking any of these. Because we would... The thing was, I mean, we'd also get paid out on those holidays, too, right? So it wasn't like I was trying to rip anybody off. It was like... And especially because those guys lived, like, just 15 minutes away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, go home. But yeah, they'd be like, oh, no, you got to take... So I got to work. I'm like, okay, no, I got you guys. No worries.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've been with a union contract that actually had floating holidays in it. So
Floating, yeah.
yeah, where you had to take so many of them a year.
Yeah.
So and people would be like, oh well, you got kids, and so I'll work Christmas, and you can trade me for like I don't know, fucking Super Bowl Sunday or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something stupid like that. Yeah, Yeah, I remember there was like years there where I didn't have Christmas off for like a decade.
Yeah.
So just because that was a money day, man.
Yep.
So I'd always make like double time. So the best contract I ever had, holidays were double time and a half. So and if you went overtime on that, that was triple time. So and you're always short staffed on those days, and so you could get OT if you wanted some, and you could this is when I was making like $5.85 an hour.
Right.
And so you could really put like some gas on the fire, during that period, because it was Thanksgiving, and then it was Christmas, and then it was New Year's, and then it was like President's Day. So there's like or Martin Luther King Day. So there was like a month there, a month and a half, where if you weren't to work all the holidays, you could make some money. So.
Yeah, I know that some people would kind of like count on that time because that would be they'd sort of budget for it. I don't know. It just eventually like I ended up working a lot of those holidays. Eventually, it's like, look, these aren't all that special to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
So no worries, guys.
No, I didn't really care what day the holiday. I mean, like, like my family, we've never celebrated Christmas. It's always the weekend. That's closest to the holiday. I mean, Thanksgiving's kind of an exception just because everybody's off and it's always on a Thursday. But Christmas is kind of rando when it is.
Right.
Yeah, and then like the Monday holidays, I guess, but I never really cared about any of them. So like Labor Day, Memorial Day, stuff like that. It was just you don't have to go to work on a Monday kind of thing. So
right,
so you can squeeze a weekend.
I know July 4th, Independence Day, sort of like floats.
It does,
but I feel like you almost always get a Friday or a Monday out of it.
Yeah,
sort of how they treat it, but
yeah.
Again, that's just it's just. I think I saw somewhere. I can't remember where. I think I saw that on as a whole that I think the United States is like woefully behind on paid holidays.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shit. Oh yeah, no. You go over to Europe, they get them all the fucking time. Yeah. No, we get like 7.
Yeah. Do we just not have enough? Yeah. I know they have like 2,000 years of history. Do we just not have enough days, enough history to?
I don't know. Maybe so, but like the thing is like to get a paid holiday, that means everybody gets that day off.
Right.
And companies fucking hate that.
Yes.
So,
because the government can make as many as they want.
The government can make as many as they want,
yeah.
but, the companies start screaming bloody murder when, you have to turn around and create another paid holiday. That's why I'm surprised they actually got Juneteenth through. The only way they got it through was because of all the things that were going on at that time.
It was the saddest shit on the planet. It was we talked about this the other day in terms of like what came through, right? And you're talking about the things where you look at the inadvertent effects of this, right? And you're looking at the shows where, like, of Lenny and Carl fame, they had to recast Carl.
Yeah, I know.
Things like that.
My point is that, like, there are almost no other circumstances where you would have gotten another holiday.
No way.
I mean, we can't even get election day off. So...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know why election day is on a Tuesday, for crying out loud. It always has been, though.
Like with some traditions, you don't even ask. It's just like it just is.
It just is. Yeah. What do you mean the sun comes up in the east? It always comes up in the east.
There's ever been a day where it didn't like?
That was a bad day. Yeah. It was a blood day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, but, like, all the other ones, I mean, so I'm getting Labor Day off, but I don't get Veterans Day off. So, you know, and I don't think I've ever had Memorial Day off. So, in my current line of work. So, I mean, like, they can add as many holidays as they want to the calendar, but if you don't get them off, it doesn't really fucking matter because they don't have to pay you extra. So...
Yeah, some of them do, but they
some companies do, but you're not required to, and you're not required to give people those days off either. So,
no, those are days that they kind of want to close, like because remember that on those that typically means even then that like management has to be there too, right?
Well, of course, yeah, depending on the situation. I mean, some days that's. I mean, like airlines, those are your money days, man.
Right.
Fucking Thanksgiving Day itself was the busiest goddamn day of the year. And so everybody's hands on deck.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
Because everybody's got to get to grandma's house by 4 p.m.
And so, what would have been cool then is if basically they then turn around and then had like a side thing where they called it Travel Workers Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, it was Friday.
Something like that. Something where everybody knows it. Everybody.
The busiest day of the year is followed by the slowest day of the year.
It's gotta happen, man.
Because nobody flies nowhere on that Friday, man.
No.
I remember they used to do reduced schedules on that day, man. They just parked planes, so because nobody was fucking flying. Same thing's true with Christmas, man. Christmas would die after like 12 at noon.
Yeah.
So it was donezo, and so they would cancel flights, park planes, just call it good. But Christmas morning was always busy as hell. So, you know, so yeah, it just kind of worked out that way. But like, there's a lot of other places. Like, no restaurant in the world would want to be closed on 4th of July. So, you know, it's a big family thing. So
they are closed on Christmas.
A lot of them are closed on Christmas. That's because a lot of people don't go out to eat on Christmas. So,
see, that's the thing. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think a lot of people would.
maybe, but
I think they do that for their employees.
yes, either that or just it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I've asked the guys over the yacht club about that because they used to be open on both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they say we don't get any business on Christmas. And everybody wants to go home by 5 p.m. So
I think it's just a lot of people don't know.
that's possible too. I mean, you know, there's a few
Because
places.
everything else is closed. So, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, you can find a few things here and there. So it used to be that used to be where Denny's would start hopping. So, you know, Waffle House is open.
Well, I mean, certain things. So, there were places that would always... So, if there's a... I can point to this. Like, this is something that this goes all the way back to a Christmas Story. Like, Chinese restaurants used to always be open on Christmas.
Yeah, you're right.
And they used to be mobbed, right?
Yep.
I think in a lot of places they still are. Any place that's like Jewish places usually going to be open on Christmas.
Yeah, it's just another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
so-
Indian restaurants probably open. So
Not a lot of those places closed.
I don't know, man.
But, yeah,
I've
yeah.
only ever been to one in my entire life, so I'm not exactly going to say that I'm steeped in in their schedules.
Well, I've been to quite a few, and frankly, they're all as much as I enjoy it, they're all quite samey.
Are they?
Yeah,
Kind of like
this-
Chinese restaurants? Like Chinese American restaurants are all kind of same.
We don't talk about the actual Chinese
No,
places,
man. I
It's
don't
fucking
think you
gross.
can even go to a place like that
No.
in Colorado. You probably find one, but
It's probably around, and
Yeah.
God bless the people that eat that junk. But I mean, it's real earthy.
yeah,
I'm not a fan.
it's not as spicy as they say it is, too.
What, Indian food? No, Chinese.
Chinese food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chinese food isn't that spicy.
No, but a lot of people claim that it is. So
What?
yeah, from China, oh, you can't handle this. You're too white to handle this, and you're like, this is tame, bro.
What are you talking about? That's like Thailand, yes, but
Well, Thailand, absolutely, man. I mean, you know, that there's dishes that come out of Thailand that probably would kill me.
well, I mean, yeah, there's places out of Thailand that I mean, you're the hazmat guy. You know which number on the
It's got a
diamond
UNID.
is, yeah. You know which one it is. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know which
666.
it's-
Ooh, that's a good one. No. I've seen that. So, in fact, the China guys are covering that a little while ago, where, you know, it's like Chinese, actual mainland Chinese, try and gross out Westerners with their food, you know, kind of thing. But then there's a lot of them that say, oh, that's too hot for you, and you try it, and you're like, it's not that hot. So,
No, because all of us have been roped into like
Thai food or Indian
I don't want to
food
see
or-
like Thai food. I think we've all like at this point. Is there really anybody that hasn't been like at least a little bit accustomed to like a jalapeno here and there? I mean, this is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Is like I think like Tex-Mex at this point is so ingrained into society. You don't even really need to call it like Mexican food anymore. Like, I'm sorry, you may call that the place of origin, but that's as American as it gets now.
Yeah, Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've had actual real Mexican food. It's actually quite good. So, but it's not Tex-Mex. So
No, it's different.
there's like almost no cheese in it. So it's got a lot more like seafood in it. So it's got a lot more onions in it. So it's good.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we've all been kind of like inundated to some of that stuff. It's not a like I used to remember like back in the days. If you watch like sitcoms and stuff from like the 80s and the 90s, right? If somebody was actually like eating sushi, right?
Oh.
People on the show would like gag. They're like, "That fish isn't cooked." This is
You're gonna get worms.
It's-
well, you might.
Oh, not from sushi grade fish. Crazy, no.
But here,
It's so ubiquitous at this point that nobody would react that way.
no. No, I mean, you like Colorado's kind of a ridiculous place to get sushi, and so considering how far from the ocean we are.
Yeah, and I've never seen sushi made out of trout, so that's
that you're gonna get worms out of that. So
I don't think
you have to cook trout, man. So there are lots of creepy crawlies in trout.
I just don't think it's a sushi fish. I really don't think it is.
Well, it's too skinny, so you couldn't get a chunk of trout. So, like a piece of salmon, you could get a piece of salmon, like a fillet. So,
well, you could, but you'd have to beat the crap out of it. I mean, that's and you still have to taste.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the taste. It's just
I'm not a huge fan.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the taste of trout. It's like the fishiest fish out there, man.
It most certainly is.
Yeah. Oh, well, catfish is pretty. Catfish is different.
Catfish,
though.
you know what you're getting.
You know exactly what you're getting. Yeah. You know it's full of bugs.
Well, that's why you fry it.
That's why you fry the shit out of it.
Yeah, that's why you batter it and fry it.
Yeah.
It's you don't fuck around with that. Yeah, it's something else. And again, it's not that I hate it. It's just that usually, if you, man, it's just the thing. Like if you go to any place where trout's on the menu, you're gonna find something better on the menu.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean.
You're not going to find anything that's fresher on the menu. So
here, no.
You're not going to find anything fresher, but you will find things that are better. So, yeah.
So it's fine. Like again, I'm not going to shit on whatever people like, but
no.
Yeah, the whole idea of like, oh, this is too spicy for you guys. Yeah, if it's Thai food, I've had some spicy stuff there. I've had the white guy stuff is fine for me, and frankly, I don't really like Thai food. All that's fine. It's just
I've only had it a couple times.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The same thing with like Vietnamese food. It's like this is fine. It's very fresh tasting. It's very fragrant. It's very
See, that's the thing is that I noticed about it. It is like I don't mean spicy like hot, but it's just loaded with spices. So and. I don't know, man. I'm getting simpler as I get a little bit older, and so with some of that stuff. I don't know about Thai food. The only time that I've had Thai food is like noodles. So
that's why
Vietnamese food is definitely. I mean, you can taste the Chinese influence in it.
It's there, but I mean, there's a lot of there's like lemongrass and stuff like that. Again, it tastes very, like I said, very fresh, very fragrant, very light.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Versus,
springy.
Yeah, you go to a place where I don't know, you get German food in comparison.
Oh my god!
What gravy would you like on your gravy? It's just like, I got it.
So you mix the white gravy with the brown, yeah? So like a lemon twist.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
it's got fruit in it. Great.
Yeah. Yellow and blue makes green. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
all right, yeah. And I presume you're going to spread this on some kind of meat or potato, huh? It's like,
of course, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, what kind of potatoes?
Yeah.
Thickly sliced or thickly whipped.
Whipped.
So,
beat the shit out of it, man.
Shit out of it. You always get, and they've got the greasiest fucking vegetables, man. So they got the greasiest vegetables. I've eaten a lot of German food, man. It's just like, what is this? Oh, it's zucchini. It's like, no. I think it's got a little bit too much caramel in it.
You're like, you call this salad, huh?
Oh, I've seen some whack German salads, man. So,
and you know what's funny is I've liked it. I mean, there's very few things on that menu that I haven't enjoyed.
Oh no.
I will say this: there is something to be said about, frankly, fucking all of Europe, where. Like, if you were to treat it the same way as you were, if you... You know how they put the labels on the side of food, right?
Uh-huh.
And I understand at the Science Factory where they have to take the Twinkies and then put them in a centrifuge and...
This one's 40% cholesterol. It's perfect, sir.
That's how they're going to take the compositions. Like, so much of, European food, ingredient number one is vinegar.
There is a lot of vinegar, especially
there
German
is.
food.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean,
and the UK ain't no fucking.
yeah,
they don't shy away
UK
from that shit
is absolutely overrated when it comes to food, man. So,
Even most UK people like are they don't hesitate to say it's like we call it food, but
yeah, I mean, and like some of it is comfort foody, but
big time, and you can see how it has its roots.
It does,
or
have
how
its
it
roots.
extends its ways here.
But you're going to find everything is better in Alabama. You know, I mean everything. You know, if you want to do comfort food.
Boy, you're right. There is something to that combination of classic food meets the people who ate the garbage parts of the animal and found out how to do real tricks with that shit. And then combine the two.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this actually tastes good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a few English dishes that I do like. There's a couple Irish dishes that I do like. Corned beef and cabbage is not one of them. So
I don't mind that at all. But
I do not like that stuff.
But the thing is, like, the whole idea of me paying for it,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I'd rather have a sandwich, please.
You're right. Like, corned beef and cabbage is what you have. That is
it's what you whip together because you got it. Yeah. So it's not something you go out of your way to make. So.
Fuck that, dude. Corned beef and cabbage. Again, I don't hate it, but I don't put it quite in Holocaust food with like Spam. But it ain't that far away. I hate to say it. Yes, I mean,
Sam's
like,
way better.
If you're gonna ask me to, like, all right, so if I'm gonna make a Holocaust food dish, right, and I have Spam and macaroni and cheese, I'm gonna eat that 10 out of 10 times.
Oh yeah, over corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll compost the cabbage.
Grow something better.
Yeah, exactly. I'll grow macaroni.
You know, that's the thing. Is like, cabbage is kind of a whack-ass food on its own. I mean, you don't... It on itself, like, if you just eat it on its own, it doesn't have a great flavor. No, it doesn't.
That's why you got to gin it up with mayonnaise or something, you know, and make it into, you know, like
Bingo.
coleslaw.
You're touching on the problem is, like, your base ingredients are fucked in terms of you have to wreck these things to make them edible. Yeah,
or soak them in vinegar.
Soak them in vinegar. No, it's the same thing when people are like, what the hell do you do with a rhubarb? It's like,
not much.
No.
Yeah, there's a couple of those big plants like that I'm just not a huge fan of. Rhubarb is one of them. Eggplant, I'm not a huge fan of eggplant, so it's fine. But I mean, you will always get the chicken version of the Parmesan before you get the eggplant.
Allow me to say it one more time. Any place that serves eggplant
Yeah.
has something better on the menu.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Eggplant's one of those. Cabbage is another one. I'm kind of like in the same place where they say, "Oh, we have a zucchini, you know, medley." It was like, "Can I just get the broccoli?" You know, kind of thing. So I'm not a huge fan of that. It's like, "Oh, we got grilled zucchini or artichokes are the other ones."
You've spoken out against artichokes. Again, I think they're fine. It's not...
It's got its place, man, as a paste, you know. So, but if it's got hearts in a fucking salad, it's like, can't you just get salad instead?
Well, it's everybody eats around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they taste like snot, man. So.
Well, okay, I don't want to go that far, but It's weird because when you see that they're in the salad, you look in there and it looks like there's a bunch of like spinal columns.
It's like fermented rats.
And again,
spinal column.
They do. They look whack. They look like. They do. They do. They look like the shell of like an insect or something in there. And again, I won't take it away from anybody if you like it because there is a distinct flavor to it.
I've had good things with artichokes in them, so you know, but I'm thinking like sauces or cheeses and stuff like that, or maybe a little bit of pasta where you have artichoke hearts in it and something. It's fine, but just like as something that is easily pick outable from a salad, man. It's like, why even bother, man? This does not make this thing taste any better.
Well, this would be my question to you: is in any of those dishes that you had artichoke in that you liked, would they any of them be worsened if they just took the artichoke out?
No, you could just use olive oil or something. You can basically get in something fairly similar. I know, like, there's a distinct flavor to them that's kind of in between, like, several of your different other options, so I kind of get it, you know, but...
As I said, if you like it, you like it.
If you like it, you like it, yeah. So, but, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm the same way with eggplant. I can take it or leave it. Cauliflower is useless, so...
That's, yeah, you really hit the nail on the head. It just doesn't have place in a broccoli world.
It doesn't do anything, man.
It doesn't.
No, I've seen so many people try and make, like, vegan cauliflower french fries or something. It's like, use fucking potatoes, man. So, I mean, these are disgusting.
Just make french fries.
This is awful, yeah.
Well, unless, I mean, all right, so cauliflower does have its place for... as a substitute for some potato things, like for those people who suffer like with what your wife has.
She has no problem with potatoes. Potatoes don't have gluten in them; they have starch. So she can eat French fries or chips all day long. So
you're right.
Yeah. No, the reason why
There's
they do it...
people that can't eat potatoes.
There are people who choose not to eat potatoes because if you fry the potatoes, it gets your cholesterol up. I get that. And so, you know, you can make a lot of potato-y things out of ground cauliflower, and it doesn't soak up the oil.
I thought there were people that had to... Oh, no, because they do use, like, ground-up cauliflower. It's not for potatoes, but as a replacement for some kind of, like, dough things. That's right.
Sometimes, That's right. So I've experimented
like, they'll make pizza crust with...
It's horrifyingly bad. And so, I have tried every type of gluten-free flour out there. There are just some things that are just not on the list. That you just can't make them right. Pancakes is one of them. So it's impossible. I've tried so many times. Chocolate chip cookies are almost impossible. So unless someone really knows what they're doing. So, but like like any kind of like soft bread, like I couldn't make like French loaf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I couldn't make gluten-free hamburger buns, so...
You wouldn't make shepherd's bread, you wouldn't make...
No, but I would make pie crust. The pie crust is fine if it doesn't have to rise, so then it's fine, man.
Yeah.
So, and I've made pizzas that are basically like cracker crust pizzas out of gluten-free dough. It's fine.
Sounds great.
They're fine. But like certain other things, it's no-go territory, and pancakes is one of them, man. Because you never really, like, if you make a pancake that's halfway between a real pancake and a crepe, it is not either of these things.
Yeah, you gotta... Yeah, you're right.
It is not either of these things. It is its own monstrosity at this point in time.
You're right. And you know what? I'd fucking with you, because you're on, and there are some Asian pancake-like things.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
That's the trick there is, yes, it doesn't fit within the two worlds, and unless you were... Yeah, there's weird things where... I remember my mom would make those sometimes, and it's like... There's fucking eggs and green onions in this, and this is weird. And
green onions in a pan... That's weird, man.
Again, yeah, it's a different... You can see the inklings of it. You can see, again, this goes to British food in the same way where it's like, y'all went through some rough times, didn't you? It's like,
you eat this because you didn't want to eat your children. Yeah. So you really love the family dog, man. I got you. Yeah.
And the Korean food's the same way when you get this like, you guys just had 3 things, huh?
Yeah.
This is
green onions, flour, and water. Got it.
And some eggs. Yeah. Some eggs.
Actually, I put an egg in my pancake batter. That's
fine. As a matter of fact, a lot of places like they'll have you do that if you put that on there, because a lot of that's for color.
It's for color, but it also makes them kind of spongy.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's you can tell it's the same it's the same reason that there's so much Bam in Hawaiian food.
Oh yeah, well that's World War II.
Yeah. It persists to this day. So like, all right, this is cool. I get it. Yeah, Britain, it's like, fucking A, guys, like, you had the struggles.
It's like, my God, you still have to keep putting leeks and everything, man. I've done a couple like homemade batches of chicken stock where I go to, the Costco and get one of their rotisserie chickens and strip it.
Yeah.
And then make myself a batch of chicken stock. And so the first time I did that, the recipe was like, well, you got to put some leeks in here. I was like, why? So
Great question.
And so the next time I did one, and my chicken stock came out great, man. And so even without the leeks. And so the next time I did it, I go out there and I'm like, okay. And I order like a clump of leeks from the King Supers.
Right.
So, first of all, they're huge.
They're enormous.
You don't expect how big they are.
Yeah. They're at least a quarter around.
Yeah, they're like humongous, like giant-sized spring onions, man.
They are.
Yeah, and then it's like I'm following this recipe. It's like, well, don't put the green part in, put the white part in. And I'm like, okay. And so, but I take one bite of the green part. And I'm like, holy shit, what is this? It tastes like battery acid, kind of thing. Like you put one of them batteries on your tongue and it starts to burn a little bit. It's like,
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And man, I gotta tell you, so I cooked that stock for about, another, I don't know. Normally I cook it for about 4 to 5 hours. Just, to kind of let it go for a bit before I pick all the bones out and things like that. Yeah. This one, I cooked out for about 4 or 5 hours, and I pulled the chicken out, and pulled all the bones out, and I take a taste of this shit. It is bad, man. It was just so acidic. I was like, what the fuck? And so I was like, well, let me throw some more water in here and try and leach that out.
Yeah.
It never comes out, man. That was a ruined batch. So I don't know. And then, but I've had leeks and other things like shepherd's pie. You don't really taste that much of them. But, I mean, once you know what that tastes like and where it's at, and, you can pick, it's like picking cabbage out of things. It's like, oh, that's cabbage. So, it's like, oh, this has got too many leeks in it, man.
Right.
So you just use a couple of these. So
if you must, and again, this is the same sort of thing where you turn to a more pleasant flavor. You say, like, couldn't I just use a green onion?
Just use onions. Yeah, exactly. Just use a sweet onion. You don't even have to put it all in there. Come on, man. So,
but look, and I get that sensation. You're right. There is a piece of that where they're saying this is what we like in the stock, and you know what?
Yeah.
You can't notice it there, but you're right. It's like where was it? What did you grow it? Were you the one that was like growing your own garlic? And
oh yeah. Holy shit! I made some lethal garlic.
Yeah, that's right. Because you used like a grocery store dose once, versus
that dish was ruined. So
yeah, because you grew like fucking like garlic DX or whatever
the prescription drink garlic. Yeah. And I don't know how that happened, man. I got them from my neighbors, and he was like, "Here, go put a few of these in your garden." I was like, "Okay." And fuck, man, there's probably still garlic in that garden, man. So, because it just grew like crazy. But they were little. So, they were like little and they were like bright purple. And so, they were just. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, you cut one open and be like, oh, my eyes, ow.
Yeah, so, you can see, like, oh, this is the shit they kill vampires with. Like, I get it. Like, some other stuff is just as harmless, yeah.
Yeah, no, man, I use garlic in a lot of cooking, man, but I've never had garlic that was that strong again since then. So, who knows, maybe I'll get a new garden set up here in the next couple of years.
I guess that's the same thing with a lot of, there are other, like, I guess if you go with, like, the less fucked with versions of, like, carrots and corn and apples, they're way different.
Yeah, you get the purple carrots.
Yeah.
They're good, though, man. They taste extra super carroty, though. So
that's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah, they do. They're good, though. You just don't have to use as much of it as you usually do. So if, like, you put some carrot... Like, I don't use carrot for that much, but when I use it, it's usually, like, kind of as a filler, You're
not wrong.
So, I mean, because I use carrots in my spaghetti sauce, but it's basically just helping bulk up. Oh, no, that's just a bolognese sauce. That's normal. So, I hit them on the grater. Okay, so, but I would never use purple carrots for that. But that's about all that I use carrots for. That, and sometimes, like, I'll make coleslaw. So, or I'll make potato salad. I'll put carrots in that.
I get that.
That's about it.
frankly, look, the truth is, if I'm going to eat carrots, I'm just going to eat carrots. Because, yeah, that's the thing is, generally speaking, their texture is so, I don't want to say bad, but it's unique. So that it's going to take over whatever it is that you're doing. Like, even if you put it in coleslaw, like, that's the thing you get is the texture of, like, because they're essentially the hardest thing in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, per se. But, if you do that with other things, like, oh, this is all carrot. Like, the same thing. Like, if you actually have, like, carrot cake, like, nobody really tastes the carrots in here. It's just, it's just something weird and kind of oddly, like, crunchy.
It's got a little snap to it. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of carrot cake, though, man. So
it's fine. It's just, I don't know.
I use them in a lot of soups that I make. So.
I guess I could see that. You know what? And actually, fuck that. I have had carrot puree and carrot soup are both fucking awesome.
They are really good.
Those are great. Those I apologize.
Fuck, I haven't had carrot soup in ages.
It's delightful. It's delightful.
Yeah.
It takes pumpkin soup and fucking kicks it down the street and says, like, you don't belong here. It's like a 1950s racist like movie. It's like, we don't want you in this town. It's just
get on the other side of the tracks.
Carrot soup is fantastic.
I haven't had that in ages.
Sleep on that. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. And puree is fantastic. And you just have to boil
I don't think I've ever had
out
puree. So
yes, you have.
Carrot puree? Well, like when I was a baby, I guess.
No. Because you're going to use it. You're going to use it as part of, like, you're going to put it down and you're going to put something on top of it.
Oh, I guess I've never done that.
Well.
Yeah, no.
It's very colorful. It's.
Okay.
This is a
that must be one of those fine dining
the,
things that I don't know anything about.
The 10 points that goes to presentation, So
I don't eat at restaurants where that's a problem. So at least I haven't in a long time.
I don't normally I don't eat at places where there's a mystery ingredient that evening. So
right.
And it's always something stupid. It's always kind of like Pacific capers or
capers are gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, you turned me on to that years ago, and then I started seeing them at certain things. It's like, oh, this recipe's got capers, and it's like, nope,
let's throw this away.
Let's throw this out.
Yes.
So
you insult me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So I got sucked into a new game.
What now?
I've been playing Diablo 4.
What?
Yeah, it was on sale.
Really?
Yeah. Game's busted, dude.
What do you mean?
It's easy.
Oh.
It's way too easy.
Well, are you in the post game or no?
No, not yet.
Oh.
No. Did you play it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But I understand that it doesn't. Post game is where the game starts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the case then.
Well, your brother could tell you that. Like, he, that's the same thing he used to say about, like, WoW, is the game doesn't start until you hit...
Oh, yeah.
Shit, I don't know. At the time, I think he used to tell me, like, the World of Warcraft was, like, 80?
70 or 80?
Yeah.
Where you cap out, level cap. I think it was 70.
I don't know if
Diablo 2 was 70. So or was it 75? Something like that. It had a cap.
Was it a weird number?
It was kind of weird. It was like one of these. It might have been 60 or something like that. Yeah, it was one of these arbitrary ones. So, but I don't know, man. I mean, maybe that'll be true. I will get to that end of the game probably within a fucking day. So, because I'm just basically running around waffle stomping everything. So,
are you having fun doing it?
I was at first, but now it's kind of like, all right, just run to the next thing. Go kill this guy. It's like, oh, big entrance, shaky doors, stuff like that. Right. Yeah. One hit, dead. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm sorry, the systems in it are just busted. So they're not challenging. It doesn't force you to make any decisions other than what character you want to play as. Once you get there, you can change anything that you want, whenever you want. So, which is fine. But
that's user friendly. I mean,
it is definitely a very user friendly game. So, but yeah, I got it on the Steam store for like $15. So I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I put a bunch of shit in my on my wish list. And I figured, well, I'll just play whatever goes on sale first.
you know what? That actually makes sense. That seems like the smart way to do it. I don't know. There's a couple of things out there that look interesting, but I haven't. I just haven't.
I still might try Elden Ring. I don't know. It's still like full price though, man. So it's like, ugh. That should be a good sign, but I don't know if it is.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm just gonna level with you. I think you're gonna hate it.
Maybe I might.
I think you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Like, what is the last game that you? What is the last game that you liked that actually had a punitive difficulty to it?
A punitive difficulty?
That's correct. Yes.
It's been a while. I don't. Well, I don't know, man. The last couple of games that I played on the hardest difficulty level were not hard for me to play. So let me put it that way. So, like, I cranked The Witcher all the way up, and I was still just murdering things, no problem, because I understood the combat. So
Right.
same thing's true with Cyberpunk, man. I had Cyberpunk on, like, you know, where it's got Night City burning down in the background kind of thing, and I was like, this game's still fucking easy. Because I understood the systems behind it, but, like, an actual game that punished me because it was hard, it's been a while. I can't even think of one. So...
Because, I mean, you know, first... I start out with this, like, do you like corpse recovery as a mechanic?
I do not. So, and I know that's a mechanic in that game. So,
yeah, I'm not gonna pretend otherwise. I fucking hate it.
yeah,
I think it's
that is not Diablo 4. So they did get rid of that. So,
Wow.
yeah, the corpse recovery is not a thing. If you die, your shit just gets beat up, and you have to go repair it, and that's it. You don't explode into.
you know what? I don't have a problem with that change. I don't.
Huh.
I tell you that. God, yeah, that's.
I haven't been in a game in a while that had corpse recovery. It's been a while since I played.
Yeah, the last game I played that had, you know, aside from those, was like Valheim.
Oh, yeah, we did play. Okay, so Valheim had a difficulty that started to ramp up and piss me off after a while. But it wasn't the actual combat, it was the corpse recovery that pissed me off.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's funny that I think about it. Yeah, it's... I ended up not liking... Well, the only... What does that do for you? I mean, that's my question. What does that do for you in a game? What is the purpose of that?
So... Well, it's so that death actually has some kind of, like, consequence to it.
In theory, right?
In theory. But, like, Valheim, like, you're in, like, middle hell anyway. So, the thing that I did like about Valheim and its corpse recovery system was that if you had a lot of good shit on you, you were careful. So, and you did get to the point in time where it was kind of like, alright, I don't think I'm ready to go over there. Okay, but it would also force you to do some planning,
Yeah.
where it's like, well, if I can make one of these axes, why don't I make two while I'm at it? You know, and then I got one stashed somewhere in case I die and I lose this shit, you know. But that game, it took a lot of effort to get high-level gear in it. So, you know, when they just take it all away from you and put it in a place that's impossible to get back to, it was a game killer at that point. It was like, fuck this, I'm not doing it.
Well, that's
yeah.
That's sort of like... There's a component to that I see it like in that game where I kind of felt that was sort of like a soft push to encourage teamwork and multiplayer.
Okay, yeah, I'll buy that.
I can see that, but at the same time, like, the one thing that it took away from me here is, again, like, look, it's not that I don't like you. I think you're awesome, but we don't play games together anymore. It's just our times don't mesh up, and and frankly, most of the time, I'd rather just play by myself.
Yeah,
and the tricky thing here is, if you're doing that single player, the other thing it does for you is it discourages you from exploring. And
it does, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, it did. It did. You did get to the point in time where it was like, I am really far away from home, so this is a bad idea, And and that's what drove me off that game, because I did play like the Spiderlands episode, or where they added the web forests in there.
Oh,
so I just wanted to hop back in and check it out, because all their updates are free. They weren't charging you for them. So. And it took me a while to find one. And I remember looking at it, and I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, oh my God, man, I've been exploring for half an hour. I'm miles away from home, and my boat's here. And so if I die and spawn back over there, not only is my boat here, but all my shit is here.
Yes.
So, I mean, you could get around that a little bit, because what I would do after a little while is I'd bring all the stuff with me to make a portal. So, which there were mechanics in that game that kind of mitigated that. Like, I remember, like, Diablo 2, there were some times we were like, I am fucked, all right? So, my corpse is in the middle of an absolute shit show, and there's no way, I just got to run in there naked and try and grab and run out, and, it was just, that was a dumb mechanic. So that just got, to the point in time where, I mean, it encouraged you to, like, not get engaged in anything that you weren't going to completely OP. So,
well, that's the sort of, the suicide runs of, like, you're naked with one scroll of town portal, right?
Because you don't want to lose any of your shit.
Yeah, so you go in there, you
with one scroll.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you're going to throw this over here,
times, man.
Try to pick up your shit, and then jump through that hole. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
And again, you think about it, that's the thing. It's like, all right. Well, what's funny is that I do have, like, fond memories of that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But at the same time, the flip side is, why? It's like, what exactly did I gain from this, right? The only thing was, again, it was like the whole, hey, can you guys help me, right?
Oh, right,
again,
yeah.
See, I totally understand that, but I mean, it's sort of like up to the game to look and see how many people are playing.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
And sort of make that adjustment. And again, this is where, like, the permadeath, corpse hopping, lose this stuff thing. I'm like, dude, the only thing that you really do is you discourage me from trying certain strategies. That's all you really do is you're hassling me. You're making it take longer. And you know what? And that's the thing, Patrick, is at this point in my life, if I get the sense that I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of like when you're watching kind of like an amateur, mystery movie, and you just get to this point. You're like 25 minutes, and you're like, I found you out.
Yeah, I figured it out.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if I get the sense that a game is just sort of like padding itself with difficulty, I get mad. It's like,
it's just hard for the sake of being hard. Yeah.
It's not even that it's hard for the sake of being hard. It's like you look at the end. It's like, yes, it's like I did this hundreds of hours in games well before you.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
The entirety of the NES library was littered with this shit because you had,
every game had to have train level.
You had half a meg of space to deal with. This you got for Christmas. It was $50. It needed to last like 35 hours. So here's the difficulty ramp going nuts.
Yeah.
Right? So I went through all this, and I did that because I had the patience of a child with these games, and a determination like, that's all I've got. I've got to play this.
Yeah.
Right? And then at this point, if I see that you are just fucking with my time, I'm like, I can't do it. You're making me upset. You're making me upset. You're making me jump through stupid hoops. Whereas the whole point of this is like, oh, the combat's all awesome. No, the combat kind of fucking sucks. It's not great. It's not. Again, it's slow. It's clunky. It's it's like, well, they have these patterns and stuff. Yeah, every game. Every single game has patterns. You just don't want to die because it's a fucking hassle. Like, yes, that's not great design, man. It's me getting in here. It's like, what do I want to do? I lose in this fight. I want to hit the button and get back to the fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because that's the interesting part. Wandering around to get to this here and pick up my body and do all this other shit. Like, that's not what I want to do. This sucks.
No, but it's been a while since I played a game that made you do that. So I don't know if it just hasn't lost its popularity or something. So
well, it's incredibly popular, actually. But
what now?
These games, yeah.
Oh, really? Still?
Yeah. There's a huge. They apply. That's why they say. There's a like even 2D games and all this stuff. It's Souls like. I'm like, yeah, you say that, but again, it's like, what do you take from it? Yeah, because like even with like 2D games, with I was playing it for a while. There's this gorgeous 2D game called Blasphemous. It's and the second one's out. I didn't play it, but the first one, like, this is cool. Again, stupid like permadeath mechanic, but yeah, they apply that to. They say that's the element in it, so that style is extremely popular.
Still, huh?
Yes.
I guess it's just not hitting my Steam store. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's
because the last ones that I've played have not been like that. I was just kind of going through in my mind here because that wasn't a thing in Cyberpunk. It wasn't a thing in The Witcher.
Oh.
It wasn't Valheim. It wasn't in Hogwarts. So, yeah, that game was actually pretty good about getting you right back into the fight if you died. So, because you would have a little thing, and then like the fights, especially the big ones, they were broken up into different sections, and it would actually make you do the first section again if you'd already beaten it. So yeah, that was pretty streamlined. And then Diablo now, yeah, I guess it hadn't occurred to me, but that actually is no longer a mechanic in there. And so you just, you get your shit dented a little bit. You just go over and fix it because there's no other fucking thing to do with your money. And you just have mountains of gold that you can't do anything with. Because the fucking loot drops are insane. So,
And that's the game. Look,
it is the game.
I presume, like, I mean, this is the same thing with, so... Why was Diablo 2, good? It was a loot game. It's
definitely
about
a loot
fat
game.
loots.
Yeah.
It was swapping fat loots with your friends and all that other stuff. I'm like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, no, this one it is a loot fountain, and so that's when you get your glasses out and you're reading like, okay, this does this, okay, this one's better than mine. So, but it's crazy. But because you sit there and you look at it, there's so many mechanics that are left over from the original games in there that they just didn't want to get rid of. But also realizing that a lot of those mechanics are fundamentally busted if you don't have any scaling on them.
Oh,
so and it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, this is a percent, not a hard cap.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's just like you figured out in fucking Fallout. It's like, wait a minute.
Right.
Yeah. And I can make the ammo? Huh. So, yeah.
Again, are you having fun with it, or...?
I'm having a little bit of fun with it. It's fun just because I haven't played a Diablo-esque game in probably 15 years.
There you go, yeah.
So, and it is... If you like the aesthetic and the top-down and the... the randomly generated mazes, then there you go, man. It is waiting for you, and it's like $15.
So it's kind of like
actually, I didn't even look because I don't have Game Pass anymore. I'd be surprised if it's not a Game Pass. So
that wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
I guess it sounds kind of like a greatest hits version of Diablo.
It is definitely a greatest hits version of Diablo. So they got rid of like some of the lame classes that they had before, and then so it's really pared down. It's just like 5 classes, and then, but yeah, like. So, the one thing that it is kind of a bitch is, like, of mine is that Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 would force you, okay, after a little while, you had to make some commitments in that game. And it was like, all right, so this is the kind of guy that I'm going to be. All right, so, now it's a question of finding loots that actually help this. In this game, it's opposite because you get a good piece of juicy loot that drops. You're like, I can change my whole guy around this one thing. So, where you didn't do that before, because in this one you don't level up in stats. So like strength decks and stuff like that. That's not something you level up in. It's all skill based. And if you want to refund any of your skills, it just costs money. Okay, there's two things you can spend your money on, because you go to that fucking shit vendor, and it's like, man, I throw away stuff better when you're selling here, bro. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I do remember, like, you would go and you'd go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to Griswold. What can I do for you? To get him to regenerate 5 new axes for you.
Right.
Over and over and over again. And then finally he'd offer one. He'd be like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen in this game. It is going to take all of my. I don't have enough money. Jeff, I need some money. Don't let me close the window, man."
See that?
You just got to drop it on my ass here.
That's the kind of thing I think is cool.
It was cool, but that's not in this one. And so the thing is that I did notice is it's like you do play it online, so you have to go through BattleNet, and so there's other people running around, but you don't. They're like grayed out, so they're just in the same world that you are.
Yeah.
So now, if you decide that you want to talk to them, you can change yourself over so you're not a ghosty. So
Right.
or you don't appear as a ghosty. And then you can talk to them and stuff like that. And then, it's the typical WoW stuff where you get, like, little scrolling, fucking ads for free loot, real loot for money, kind of thing,
Right.
down in the corner. But this is like, oh, yeah, it's still Diablo. It's still Blizzard. It's still BattleNet. But no, it's just been kind of fine, mindless fun. And I did get a new controller, so it was kind of like, let's find something I can use this on. And so
I don't see why not.
yeah, my old one finally crapped out on me.
Look, so. I like the idea of there being a Diablo around. Like, just it's an institution. I feel like and I feel like it should pop around every few years. I hear they're working on a new one, and I guess the major complaint. Well, it's not really a complaint. Is I guess they are. Sort of, kind of like looking at a return to form of again, like, so it's like we've talked about here, right? There's a big movement right now. I don't want to say a movement per se. It's just like a push where a lot of people just they've kind of like drawn that line, and they're right. They're just like, I don't want to play anything that's come out in the last 5-10 years, right? There's it's not like a protest movement. It's just the industry went a certain way. They chased a certain trend. They chased a certain style.
Yep.
Everything in terms of the way that they design things. And again, like we used that word last week, entitlement. And look, when it comes to like video gamers, there are a lot of people out there who, again, they do feel entitled to certain things. It's like, well, yeah, I know that you want this, and I know that you want this.
They're the worst, man.
Are they? This is a question. Are they the worst?
I don't know. I mean, trained people are pretty far up the list. So, but
I'm not trying to elevate them by any way, but I'm just saying, are they the worst?
I don't think they're the worst, but they can be. They can have really bad moments, especially like I've seen them beat up developers over the years. And
for the stupidest
shit. It was like, I just need this one thing, and that's my real bitch against trained people. It's not people who actually like trains. It's people who play train games. Okay, so because everybody's got their pet fucking thing that they want in this game,
right?
And you can just see it absolutely ruin some games to pieces, and then. You do see a lot of people, because quite honestly, there's a lot of independent games out there. Because the formulas for some of this stuff, and you can buy a lot of assets and things like that, and so you can whip together your own train game pretty quick,
right?
But a lot of people just they don't think about what actually makes a good game. They just think about the game they want to play. So, and it's like, I don't want to go back to extra credits kind of stuff, but they were pointing that shit out 10 years ago before, we all found out that James was a sex pest. So, but there was some truth in that there are a lot of game designers out there that, they don't have the breadth of experience, or, exposure to enough different types of, like, not necessarily games, but maybe even, like, sports or fucking different card games and stuff like that, to actually see that there's a lot of different ways where you make design choices that make the game less fun for you to play. As a designer, you can't play your own game. Okay, so you got to design the kind of game that you got to have a little bit of a vision behind it. But if you're the guy doing all the coding behind it, you're the guy who knows what's behind every door, and so you're not playing that fucking game. So you're never going to be able to play it. So with the same experience that somebody else is, and so there's a lot of people who design the game they want to play, rather than think about like, okay, what about my vision would actually make this a good game, even though it's going to be ruined for me. So,
well, I think you're right to a point, but there's also a component. It also depends on where your money's coming from.
It does, yeah, absolutely.
Because there is that component of like exactly what you said, but there's also that component of basically the money guy saying like,
"Oh yeah,
hey, this is what's in. We want to include these things,"
Yep.
And so you are compromising. Like, well, here's my shitty vision of what I want.
Yeah.
Here's their shitty vision of where I want.
Yeah.
And then you come out with Skylines 2. I don't know. It's I don't know.
Skylines 2 is a great example of that, man. So it's definitely, it's obvious, patently obvious example of a game that was designed by a group of designers who wanted you to play it the way that they wanted to play it. So, he said, "No, this is the right way to play this game, and so do it our way." And it's like, that's not a game; that's a fucking movie. So,
Well, all right. I mean, there is that. There's I mean, it's I don't know about a movie, but it's a tutorial. Like there are games where
it's a tutorial. Yeah,
it's
really what it is. We're going to teach you about urban planning.
Yeah, it's a tutorial. It's basically like it's.
We're going to teach you about the evils of capitalism.
That's what it is. I mean, yeah, because it's a guided tour. It's basically like
Right.
at that point, the it's like being on an actual roller coaster, right? You know you're not in any danger, but it's going to take you through this fast ride.
Yes.
Versus like, well, what do you want? It's like, well, I want to be in danger.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's sort of the appeal to it. But yeah, we've talked about this before. About it's basically like when you get in there and you say like, where did this sequel go so wrong?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, because you guys really missed the mark on what people liked from this game.
Yes.
And it's that thing where, all right, well,
Civ 2. I mean,
I think Civ 2 was fine.
Civ 2 is the best of all Civs.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah.
And then, but you can just see how it went wrong.
Afterwards?
With each iteration afterwards, because everybody had like a different idea. It was like, well, this was important somewhere in history, so we should find a way to include this, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like you completely broke the fucking game by doing that, or you took it in a completely different. It's like, who are these fucking cartoon characters now, rather than it's Julius Caesar, in here?
There's
Stuff
that.
like that.
There's
and they got back to it with Revolution a little bit, but it's a much more simplistic game. So it's like this is fantastic, but yeah.
Well, Civ 4. Okay, so. Okay.
Civ 4
right.
had its things. So.
Civ 4, all right, being that Civ 4 is basically the base for Revolution, right? Civ 4, now that I look at that in hindsight, okay, there are some games out there that I like to call kitchen sink kind of games. And Civ 4 was absolutely that, where the whole thing was like, we are going to pack this with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You will make of it what you will. Right? We're not going to... These are just tools, right? Civ 2, I think, in many ways, was a similar kind of game where they said, well, what do people want out of the first one? It's like, this but more and better. And it's like, what do you mean better? It's like, okay, so there's less we can do with this interface, so let's tilt it this far.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so we're going to go isometric. You can see more of the map. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Yes, all the rules are the same. What do you want? More
text and
more
units.
text.
Yeah.
More
civs.
There's different ways to win that won't interfere with each other. It's like, do you have any political messages that you want to put in here? It's like, absolutely no. The only thing we're going to do here is, much like in the first one, we have to dissuade nukes. So,
because that makes a very different end game. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the world will get fucked up if you use too many of these.
Yeah, unlike Civ 1, where you basically started cranking them out like sausages.
That's it. Yes, and the same thing where it comes down to like the fact that the game was like, if you don't clean up your pollution, the world will change.
It will change.
And I was like, wow, okay, so...
My level 30 city, mine leaving, you know.
The fact that you could look at somebody, it's like, would you clean your shit? You are...
Clean your shit up, man.
It's like...
You fucking pig.
It's like Iceland over here is turning. It's like you know... So I'm like, yeah, they did that, but more. And then you're right. It's like they went into number 3 with a thesis. Like, like, somebody went in there and said, like, I want people to be different after they've played this game.
Yeah.
To have a new understanding on life. I'm like, I sure as shit don't want that from your game. Because that is not what I took from 1. That's not what I took from 2. In fact, the only thing I'm mad at is, why do I keep playing these games and you never let me play as Hitler? I don't want to be Hitler.
Right? Yeah.
But it would be funny to play as him.
Well, you could in Civ 2. So they did have the World War II scenario in there.
Oh, did they? Oh, well, that... Okay,
but... CivNet.
Yeah.
So...
And again, it's not that I want to be Hitler or I believe in anything he does.
No.
But there is a version of this where I'm like, if I'm playing against my friend and he's Hitler, or I'm Hitler,
yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, I get to be the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine.
To be the Ayatollah, if the Ayatollah can't have it.
Exactly.
Nobody can.
There's... It's like,
no, I get that, man. Yeah, so Civ
Khan.
And Civ 4 kind of got back to form in some respects.
Yeah, they kitchen synced it.
They did.
Said,
they
like,
absolutely kitchen synced it.
And stuff. Go nuts.
But then Civ 5 is when it started getting cartoony. And Civ 6 was unplayable because of all the religion shit in it. So it was just bad, man. You and I gave it a fair shake too.
We more than gave it a fair shake.
Yeah, we gave it a fair shake, and it was just bad. It was like this is not the same game. Okay, this districting thing is like, just give me a fucking city.
Yes.
Let me decide what I'm going to put in it, you know?
Yes.
So it was like...
no, here's the way, it's the cool way now is like, you have slots, right? Didn't you want slots? It's like, no.
No, I didn't. No. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, I think there's enough land here for me to have both of these things, but you won't let me do it.
Right.
Well, so...
Which is more hand-holding. It's like, build the city we want when
Oh, and they would totally do that, man. It was like, well, your next thing needs to be some kind of religious center. It's like, no, we want to make money.
It's like, how dare you? How dare you tell me how to play this game? Yeah.
So, and then, like, Civ 5, I only played a bit of Civ 5, man, because I couldn't get used to the hex system on it. So, it was just not good.
It is superior for a combat system.
Yes.
But here's the thing is, you can't change all the other shit.
No.
Like, if they want to... Okay, so if the big selling point was, guys, everything's the same. It's like, yes. But we are using the superior militarily hex map.
Nice.
Say, interesting. And I still might walk away and say, this is weird. But I understand that it is strategically superior.
It's strategically superior. You can approach the sing point from from additional angles. So yes,
correct. And it also has restrictions on.
It does have restrictions
of vectors of entry and escape. It is, again, it is superior. Right?
But they came back and they did the area of control rules again, which broke the fuck out of that, because you could basically defend all of Mordor with 2 fucking guys, you know, that were well placed, and so it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, man. So you know,
and again, none of that is. I feel like none of that came from. I feel like what they did is they put out the survey, right, to Civ Superfan number 6. And fucking street jerk off, where it's like they took 2 people's opinions. They said, like, we want to take this from somebody that doesn't understand the mechanics, and we're going to ask him what he wants. And then we're going to take, like, Superfan, and we're going to say, like, what does he want?
Right.
And you're going to get to Superfan, right? And he's going to be so bored with the mechanics, where he's like, you know, there's not enough complexity in here for this, and let me tell you why, and this, and this, and this. And they take, like, 200 pages of notes, right? And then they get to the other dude, it's just kind of like, oh, I don't know how to do this stuff. And it's like, oh, you know what, we'll have the game kind of, like, hold your hand through this. And the thing is, 90% of us that aren't in the 5 at the bottom and the 5 at the top, we're like, well, I didn't want this.
No,
right?
yeah.
And what happens is, it turns out that they don't sell any copies to the guys at the bottom because they don't like those games.
Right.
They sell some copies to the dudes at the top and say, this is amazing. Right?
And they rip you to pieces on IGN reviews, yeah.
And then what happens there is they try to undo that shit in their revisions in the next, patches and stuff like this, and they try to make it like the other game because everybody else is like, I don't know, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
None of that is what I was looking for in this game. Nobody asked me. I never filled out a single survey.
Yeah.
And you get this game that like by the third patch, maybe sometimes it's playable, maybe sometimes it's worse.
I've seen that happen enough times, man. Just like, you guys made this game infinitely worse. So, it is now unfixable. So
it's whack, dude. So it's and so that's sort of where they went.
God, they did that with Hearts of Iron, man. They turned it into something that's completely unplayable after a little while, just because they listened to all the fucking super fans out there.
Well, that game that like only you liked, like I don't want to say only you, but what was it? Close Combat? Or no, not Close Combat, but was it Close Combat? That one game that you liked where it was a strategy.
Yeah.
Didn't they just completely fuck that up? They
completely fucked up. From 2 to 3, they completely fucked up 3. So, or no, 3 to 4. No, it was 2 to 3, and then they didn't. And then 4 was just as bad. So because, or no, they fixed it in 4. Yeah, they fixed it a little bit in 4.
The first one was awesome, right?
The first 2. The second one is probably one of the best war games you'll ever play.
Okay.
So yes,
okay.
I mean it's nothing but even the campaign is just a series of mini battles that take half an hour to play. In fact, most of them have a 20-minute time limit on them.
There you go.
It's wonderful. So, but you play that as a series in the campaign. If you really want to do it, it's a lot of fucking work. It'll take you a couple 100 hours, or you can just do this part of the campaign, or you can just do this map. It's up to you. So it was great. And then they come into the third one. It's like, well, we should make it more like Panzer General, where you actually have to make decisions on a strategic level. It's like, no.
That's not the game.
That's not the game. Okay, so and so they fucked it up. And then they did the fourth one because most people realized that was bad. Okay, and that you can't fight the entire Eastern Front in 6 fucking battles. This is dumb. So, but whatever. So anyway, the next thing they come out with the Battle of the Bulge one, and it's just like 2 in a lot of senses, but you can make some decisions. But then they say, oh, what's really cool about Panzer General is people can pick their own units and what they actually have in here. And it's like, yeah, so I'm gonna have this fucking entire platoon here of roll around half-track AA guns, and we're just gonna machine gun everything to death. Because that's what we do, and so you completely Kevin up the place.
Right.
So, and then on top of it, you could actually turn that off, which made that a pretty good game. But then the studio went Tango Uniform, and it was a persistent state server. Yeah. So I have this bricked CD now, man. Yeah. So and have for years, and it was like, well, that was dumb. So and so it's just they completely fucked up the whole series, and the original 2 are fantastic games. And I mean, you can get online and play 2 on a pirate site in France because France has that. The EU has that rule where you can't have a game copyright for more than 10 years or something like that. So
I think I agree with that.
It's fine, man. But it means that that's where the good old games comes from. Is all those France guys who upload games that you can play on a persistent server. Like that,
Hey, there's something to that I do respect on the IP lane where it's like, you know what? You guys just aren't going to make money off of this. It's fine. It's okay. If you want to split it and say 15, something in there that seems a little bit more reasonable, where it gets out to the hands of the fans. Because one thing I've noticed here is this is where, again, so there are some staffing changes over there at CD Projekt Red. And
are there?
Yeah, there's a couple of fucking activists on there.
Oh no!
Which to me, is this has a bad chance of turning things rough.
No, it has a good chance of turning things bad.
Well, okay, yeah. So statistically speaking, it is a high chance of.
Oh come on! It's a Polish company though, man. So maybe they don't play. So
Well, I mean, so this is the tough part is this is the so if I go back on all the company, it was like, man, you guys really like ran the show for a while. You guys had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that it was when I had a smaller percentage of my life in play. So when I would look at these like successful runs, like the golden age of like Lucasfilm games, right?
oh jeez, yeah.
When you look at it like for you and I,
it was a long time ago.
it was a long time ago, and it was like a 5-10 year run of hits. Right?
Excellent games in multiple genres too.
In multiple genres, right? Now the thing is, so now that enough time has passed, right? I was like, wow, they just don't make them like they used to. What I see here in a lot of these things is, look, you can only retain a team for so long, and that LucasArts team, same thing. They lasted for like 5 to 10 years. Then all their people moved on, right? And
a lot of them retired. A lot of those guys are older than you think they are,
yeah.
man. So, I mean, like the guy who was oh, I can't remember.
like the Monkey Island guy.
No, well, I know who that is, but no, was it Larry Miller? I think it was the guy who did all their flight sims.
Oh, I
Dude,
can't
that guy
tell
was
you that,
like-
but yeah.
yeah, that
Wasn't
guy
he
was a
old when
Vietnam
I was going
veteran.
to say,
Yeah,
like, wasn't
exactly,
he old when
yeah.
he showed up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Maybe it was Lawrence. I can't remember. But
I think you're right. I think Larry Miller's an actor or a Toyota guy.
Toyota guy. Yeah, he's definitely a Toyota guy. So,
Yeah, Larry Miller Toyota. Yeah, that's right. I think it's Lawrence. I think you may be right.
think,
but
yeah.
I think I saw the name pop up. But yeah, it's
he did all great flight sims. Absolutely fantastic flight. He did, like, they were like, well, we can do this in TIE Fighters. Like, fuck yeah, we can. So, here we go. So, it was just, like, they were very innovative about, going in multiple. I mean, that's where Monkey Island came. They were the first ones to try to do a 3D world in that. It didn't work at the time, but still, I mean, there was a lot. So they were willing to try things because it was the same core group of guys.
yeah.
I mean, because they had a music guy, they had graphics guys. I mean, the graphics guy couldn't even like program anything; he just did it in Paint.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but he was an
Yeah.
actual artist. Yeah.
Heaven forfend.
Heaven forfend. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you're right, because the thing is, like, if there was going to be something that didn't work, at least there would be like familiar components where you're like, all right, so when they are taking a step. But that's the thing is all these things where I sit there and look at like the old BioWare, it's like none of the team is still there. Same thing goes with CG Projekt Red. It's kind of like, I want you guys to stay the same way forever, but you're not. Like,
They're
a lot
not.
of people are like, they say all the key people at Blizzard are now gone. They say
Blizzard turns itself over like 3 or 4 times, man.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And so, for us, it's like, well, where did Lucasfilm go? It's like, well, they didn't go anywhere. Just the same thing happened to them as every other company out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of rough. And there's just that component of like we're talking about. So why'd they fuck it up? It's like, well, people get older. People don't adhere to the same philosophy. I had this discussion. I'll put this to you, right? This was specifically like in this kind of industry, like the tech industry, right? And it had everything to do with like dress codes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you and I would think at this point we agree with a little bit more of a lax dress code for the most part.
Oh, sure.
I know that you still will put on slacks and
Yep.
and when you show up.
I'm slacks in a button-down shirt every time.
Slacks and a button-down shirt. Would you voluntarily go to the 3-piece set,
What do you mean 3-piece set?
vest and?
Oh, I'd never wear a vest. I think that's as pretentious as you can get.
You would be like this. All right, so
I'm not a vest guy.
I would ask you this, right? If your company started demanding that, what would you do?
I'd probably start looking for a different job.
Okay. Is there an amount they could pay you? Because they say, we want to present this professional image. How much more do we have to pay you to put you in that?
How much am I making right now?
Well, don't say, but
No, I know, but this is a hypothetical.
hypothetical. Let's use a round number, 50,000.
Oh no, I wouldn't. First of all, I mean, if they were only paying me $50,000,
Right.
they could basically go jump in any nearest lake.
Well, this would be my question.
Regardless of any of that stuff, it'd be like, you guys do not pay me enough to tell me what I need to wear.
That would be my question. How much more would they have to pay you?
At least another 50.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, I was like, all right, so let's take a place like Google.
50,000 is so far below median in anything right now. That's crazy. So,
well, you asked me to give you a number.
yeah,
I just went with a round number.
But if
right?
I was a tech guy, I was only making $50,000. There's no fucking way. They couldn't tell me to do anything. They couldn't tell me to be there on time.
This is the thing. Is like, all right. So I was like, I used this hypothetical with Google, and I use them specifically because, like, look. Google has way more flops than they do successes.
They do.
Okay. So I said, I was like, all right, so Google, in many ways, they're coasting on their search engine data and their cloud service, right?
Yeah.
And so if we had a change of leadership, right, I said, all right, I'm looking at you guys in here. You guys are not performing, right? And part of this is, like, we do not have a professional atmosphere in here.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't. Okay. And so my question was, like, if I turn around and say, like, we want to be professionals, we look professional.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So the fucking sandals and shorts is gone.
Yeah, your fucking ping pong tables are gone. So
Well, you can keep the ping pong, but I'm just,
hell no,
I'm
man.
just going.
We're gonna have a little ping pong barbecue in the parking lot.
I'm going with just dressing. It's like, I said, how many of these Google people out there, like, how many would I lose if I said, you're gonna wear shoes? You're going to wear real shoes that take a shine. You're going to wear pants with belts and shirts tucked in, right? And I expect to see a tie around every neck, right? How many people at Google would I lose?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with, like, the current culture of the company.
Well, so the answer I got was, right now, none.
You probably, yeah.
And that was the thing, is like, well, because they're hurting right now.
Well,
it's
either
like,
that or they're very well paid.
Well,
So
actually, it had nothing to do with that. It was like, right now, people are, with the how many they've lost, there's tons of people looking for jobs.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
They said, so right now, you could get in there and you could make that change, right? But it was also told, like, if you did that 2 years ago,
No way.
they would fire you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I know one of my colleagues, she quit working with us to go work for Google, and she clears easily $300,000 a year.
Wow.
So, oh yeah, no, I mean, well, she's an engineer, man.
Oh,
so
right.
she's a fully credentialed, engineer with patents and all kinds of stuff. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
so she got over to Google, and if they but like, she was always really well put together anyway. So
Right.
if they said, "Hey, you need to start wearing heels," every day, she'd be like, "I do right now."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not a big thing. So
Yeah, and that was the other part too. Was like, if you get into like the ladies part, it's like, all right, so it's 2 fingers above the knee as far as the dresses go, and all this other stuff. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, because
I wouldn't even do that. I just say this is now a business professional place, and so I expect ties, and I expect you to look like you're showing up to church. So, and if I see people in Hawaiian shirts, you get pulled aside and you say, "Hey, man, you got to data straighten your shit up. So come in tomorrow. Come in and show me what you're wearing before I see you. So, and I'll let you know if you can keep working here." So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't mean to like call him out particularly. It's just that like came out. I was like, you know what? I wonder how much it would take. Because, I got asked the same question. I was like, well, you got to understand. I was like, I've sort of taken a position where I deliberately don't have to dress that way.
Yeah, you do everything remotely. So,
and even when I was doing things, in person, well, not in person, but, over the camera, it's like I never wore out like a suit jacket or anything like that for any of these interviews or any stuff like that, because that would be a lie. But
I don't think I've ever worn a suit on an interview or anything over Zoom, anything like that.
I have a collared shirt that I wear for these things.
I have worn a collared shirt. Yeah. So, in fact, even when I was teaching, I'd wear a collared shirt. Yeah. But those are polo shirts, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like, I don't wear polos when I go to work, so I have them.
Do you just not like them?
So teaching them? No, I don't. So I do not like teaching in in short sleeves. So I like to have long sleeves, and I roll them up a little bit. I don't know why that is.
That is such a
That's just I've always done it that way, man.
You have always done that. I can't explain it.
I don't know, man. But then if I teach and if I'm in actually like a polo shirt, I feel naked.
I gotta tell you, man.
It's weird, man. It's all in my head. I get that, but
no, it's fine. I mean, it's I had a ratty old hoodie, and I finally Belichicked the sleeves, and it felt pretty damn good.
Oh no, I've got 2 of those, man. So yeah. Oh, I sacrificed one of my CU ones to the Belichick, and then my big blue one, which is falling apart, man. I need to get a new guy. I need to get a new one this winter. So because I actually did purge a lot of my hoodies like last year, so they were just old.
Okay, I was asked to show this series of photos. Okay, so the photos I'm going to show you.
Okay,
I'm going to preface these. These photos were taken, okay, by a person in Russia.
Okay.
Okay? And the request was, the next time you go anywhere, take pictures of the first guys you see.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm going to show you some photos, and what I want you to do is, for our home audience here, I want you to describe what these guys look like.
He looks German.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got that.
They're fat. And they're wearing, short sleeve shirts and looks like shorts.
Okay, short sleeve shorts.
Yeah. He's got the bag, though. Yeah.
Sometimes no sleeves.
Sometimes no sleeves.
What do their faces look like? When you say they look German, what does that mean?
They don't smile.
They don't smile.
Yeah.
They have kind of like almost like a little bit of like puffy faces, that kind of thing, right?
I guess. I don't know, man.
Okay.
Most Germans that I know are skinny as fuck. So
Well, those aren't Germans.
those aren't Germans, though, and I do not know any Russians.
Okay,
so.
those are Russians, right? Now, the reason I asked this, right, and the reason I was asked to show you this, right, was, again, this was like a Russian thing, right? Because this came up with Bill Belichick.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Have you seen his new girlfriend?
Yeah, she's hot.
And
she's like 35 years younger than him, which is disgusting.
Okay, now, would I explain?
I'm sorry, man.
Do you know how old he is?
Huh?
Do you know how old he is?
Oh, I think he's close to 70.
He's over 70. He's 72.
Oh, my God.
All right. Now, what I said was, this is where I was like, because I was talking about, what does it take to overcome, like, what does it take for, like, a Russian guy to have, like, a 10-looking girl? Right?
Money.
Well, and it turned out not that much. So these kind of guys here, right? And so I said, like, I said, this is a picture of Bill Belichick. She's like, yeah. Like, this is his girl. She's pretty. Like, in order for him to hook that up, he is the greatest football coach of all time.
He's multi-millionaire.
He's worth a ton of money, and he has
on
won.
Fox now too. So.
I think so. It's like he has won 6 Super Bowls,
Right.
And it is that allows a 72-year-old man to be with that girl.
Yeah.
And that's where it came out. It's like, well, in Russia,
Yeah.
you don't have to win 6 Super Bowls.
No, you don't have to win 6 Super Bowls. So
She's like, these guys, I was like, you cannot be serious. Like, the expectations for men are so low.
yeah. Yeah, the good ones are dead.
And this was before then, too.
Yeah. Well,
And it's only getting worse.
Oh, it's way worse now.
You know, you're my guy on this, so are there any updates?
No, not really.
Okay.
So Ukraine took about 1,200 square kilometers of Russia.
So that's...
And then the Russians are pretending like it's not a big deal. So, like, Putin put basically, like, what would be our head of the FBI in charge of that. Because he said, well, it's a terrorist incursion. And everybody's like, yeah, point out, like, 4 brigades worth of terrorists anywhere else in the world so that you would not deal with, like, in a military sense. So the Russians are making gains in the south. There's a question about whether or not that's intentional. So... There's a question about how sustainable that is. there's basically a city down there. It's not a very big one. It's about the size of maybe Grand Junction. That's basically going to get flattened. So, because that's what the Russians do. So, they get close to something. They kill everything and everybody in it. So, who doesn't leave? So, I mean, there's pictures out there of, like, some of the other cities, like Bakhmut is basically, it's fucking looks like something out of World War I, man. They just wreck everything. That's all they do. So we'll see. I don't know, man. Yeah, there's a lot of internal pressure. Question is, how much of it does it actually really matter? So, like, things in Russia are ridiculously expensive. So, like, like potatoes. I'm not talking cars, man. I'm talking, like potatoes. So, yeah, it's...
You want to talk about the struggle. Russian food is the struggle. Like
it is a struggle. You know what else is getting expensive in Russia? Gas.
Well, I was going to say cigarettes, but
no, gas is getting horribly expensive. So I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, like some of the best analysis that I see, it's still like, yeah, the war's probably a year to 2 years out before we get enough pressure. There's actually not a non-zero chance that the war won't end unless Putin dies. So
and it seems like he's doing a fairly good job of staying away from people that would kill him.
He tries. So he's got like a little army of guys that he's got his own Praetorian Guard. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of he pays them extremely well, and so these are the people who make his food and wipe his ass and stuff like that.
Right.
So they're very well armed. I mean, like he can get out of the capital in like 10 minutes notice. So at any time. Yeah. So who knows, man? I have no idea. So. Ukrainians have gotten smarter about how they fight, so they're not losing a tenth of the guys that they used to. They use drones for just about everything now.
Right.
So, but they did actually insert some pretty fucking heavy-duty combat units into Russia, and they're dug in now. They're like, okay, come get us. Come at me, bro. So, what else did they do? They blew up the last ferry that was taking fuel over to Crimea. Yeah, so it's just, and I mean the casualty figures coming out of like the Russian offensive in the south are horrifyingly bad, Jeff.
Really?
They are terrible. So, and they can tell this just by looking at satellite footage. So, the Russians will kill hundreds and hundreds of dudes to try and get, a fucking potato field. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hundreds and hundreds of them.
That's World War I shit.
It is World War I shit. Now, they don't do the thing where they lock arms and they go up there, but what they do is they'll send some guys out there and they'll say, like, hey, go out there and hold this CP, and then Ukrainians will show up and they'll wait for night and they'll attack them at night with the drones because... with the thermal imaging, it gets cold enough at night. Anything that's even remotely human shows up, And so, yeah, at night, if you're not under 3 feet of earth, you're dead. So, and then the Russians will be like, oh, that's okay. We'll just send 3 more guys out there tomorrow. So, and their commanders are all fucking drug addicts. So, which is hilarious. I saw this whole report about this the other day. So the Russians, they provide every soldier with 2 syrettes of what's basically an opioid.
Oh,
None of them get it. None of them get it. They all go to their commanders and they sell them on the black market to the Iranians. So, or use them themselves. They get a guy in a body bag. They throw like 4 or 5 guns in it and ship it back home and sell those on the black market. It's the most ridiculously Russian thing that I've ever heard of, man. So, yeah. I mean, there's like videos out there that you can find on Telegram of deserters kind of telling, like, hey, this is what my commander was doing, and I deserted because of this. So, he's like, yeah, my friend was supposed to go out there and, like relieve this position and stuff like that, and they told him that, help grab this wounded guy. and get his gear and bring it back up here. And he says, you go over there and, say, okay, where's this guy? He's like, oh, well, he's dead. But here, these 2 bottles of vodka are for the commander. So this guy's like, I just ran through 2 miles of fucking craziness. So in the middle of the night, which is the worst time they get, droned. So, and I'm going to do this. He's like, fuck that. And so there's all these people. There's these, Telegram is just full of desertion videos.
Yeah,
that are horrifying, and these are people who've left. They're like your friends. They're not people who've made it completely as far as like America, but they're like in Georgia or they're in Kyrgyzstan or they're in Armenia. So and they say no, fuck it. So anywhere where they can use their Russian passport to get the fuck out, because there's no way they can check, So and they got all these guys who the Ukrainians have captured. And they turn around and say, okay, well, let's do a prisoner exchange. They don't want to fucking go back. So, yeah, because...
They're going to send you back out.
They're going to send you right back out. Yeah. And it's like, no, I actually lived through this.
If you guys have any spare bullets, I'll fight for you.
There are a couple, full-blown Russian units that are fighting for the Ukrainians. And so, Dude, it is crazy, man. Okay. It's absolute bananas. So,
Patrick, I'm not going to say that the United States is perfect by any means, but what I will say is, do you ever appreciate, just in comparison, how much of a higher standard Americans hold themselves to in terms of war conduct and stuff like this?
Yes.
And just when people talk about corruption here, and there is some,
sure,
it's just small potatoes compared to.
It's not the same.
It's just not the same.
No.
The things that they turn a blind eye to is well, we got 5 guns instead of a body. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Well, you still get the body, but it's just got 5 guns in it that you now go sell on the black market.
But that would be a scandal here.
Oh, dude, if you lost 1 pair of night vision goggles here, they'll fucking string you up by your balls.
Bro.
Let alone, I was like, wait a minute, where did all this fentanyl go?
The thing that hit this week, and it's fair with the Gold Star families, right? This was a big deal, and it should have been a big deal.
I didn't really see that. So, I didn't see the actual incident. I saw that the news was making a big fucking deal about it the next day. So...
Well, so here's the big deal about it. Again, depending on what you define as a big deal. This is something that, if you're at the New York Times, you can brush it away. If you're, at the Post, you put it on the front page. So, it depends.
Wait a minute, I thought this wasn't the criticism that Donald Trump's guys had pushed somebody at Arlington?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so that, again, that's the bullshit of it.
That's why I didn't read it. It was bullshit.
The way that this works here is those families sent out invitations to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump. Okay?
Donald Trump's the guy who showed up.
Donald Trump's the guy that showed up, right? Now, evidently, Arlington has a... they have a staff photographer or something there like that. Right?
Oh, okay.
Right? The rule there is you're not supposed to use this for political events, right?
Yeah, that's the rule.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the thing was, the families asked him there, okay? So Donald Trump, when he came, he brought his photographer, and the families were taking pictures with him, right? Okay. So some of the Arlington people were kind of like, hey, you're not supposed to do this. That's
against the rules.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
But at the same time, it's well... I'm not going to tell these people not to take pictures with their families. This is going to happen, right? Now, the thing is,
Trump said that, or his guys said that?
Yeah, and his guys said that. It was hey, theyese families want these pictures.
Oh, okay.
Because they were taking their own pictures, too.
Yeah, right? yeah, you can do that.
And so they're well, we're it's okay. The thing is, the same thing again. It's that double-sided point was you guys were here for another event and you did the same thing, right? So it's well, you're not supposed to do this. It's yeah, I get it, and you're not technically supposed to put the American flag on bikinis and shit. But it's just this is the rule, and the stuff like this.
Right, yeah.
It's you're trotting out these certain things. Just like, well, it was a pushing fight. It's like, it wasn't a pushing fight.
See, and I thought that's why I thought it was so thin. I didn't even read it, man. So just because it was like, all right, obviously, when you see like the same 3 news outlets barking about this, but then the third one's silent, the fourth one's silent, it's kind of like, okay, I know what's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was that same thing. It was like, look, you're saying this is a big deal. Every president does this. Every single one of you does this, right? And it's just that same kind of like, well, actually, this is illegal. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. And that's sort of where it came in. The real story was, you two got asked to show up, you didn't.
Well, yeah, Joe Biden's not gonna. He's still on the beach, man. He's gonna spend the rest of his presidency on the beach.
I don't blame him.
I don't either.
You know what? You don't catch shit on the beach.
You're right. You catch rays, not shit.
You don't catch no fucking shit on the beach. You don't like. You take a look at the last thing that happened was like, all right, so you went and you had this talk on the air, right? Everybody on your team afterwards came out there and said, like, good job, Joe. You kicked his butt. You're still in there, big guy. 2 days passed. Like, so you're out.
You need to quit, yeah.
He's like, what? You told her I was the best fucking thing ever. It's like, yeah, but still. Right? And so they but still him right out of the office. Right? And smartly, you're correct. You don't catch no shit on the beach. Just go out there. All people care about is what the fucking new idiot thinks. And,
yeah, and I don't even think that too many people care about that. Her little interview with Dad the other night was
so bad.
I didn't think it was bad, but it is not doing anything for her, man. Well, so, you know.
Okay.
I mean, Dana Bash actually asked like the same question 3 times, and she got like annoyed with it. So I'm not going to bash on CNN because she actually did a pretty good job.
To a point, a lot of questions were also kind of like,
dude, I don't expect her to hit her like Fox would.
No, of course not. Yeah. But there was a lot of there was a lot of multiple choices in the court. They would be calling it leading. Yes.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of leading and stuff like that. But like the thing where she asked her like 3 times, "Why did you change your mind on this?" and finally she just didn't answer the question.
Yeah,
so that was pretty good. And I was like, all right, so CNN kind of knows what's up and where people are, how people are going to react to this. And sure as shit, the next day, man, like they were like, "Oh yeah, the barking seal class thought it was great."
Yeah.
But then there were a lot of like just normies who were like, "She didn't answer anything."
She didn't answer anything.
Yeah. So,
it was a 41-minute interview. They played 18 minutes.
Well, and she only talked during 18 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So, which is a hilarious thing. I mean, so like a couple things is like. So Tim Walz is like I think
grammar. Fuck him.
Well, no, I don't even care about that. I think you're right about him and JD Vance. They're irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, and I think he proved that.
They just both walked themselves out of the door.
Kind of, kind of thing. And then, but like the whole thing is ever since the convention, she is not hitting any kind of escape velocity. So, I mean, the poll, like I see a couple polls and they're like, oh, well, it's trending this way. It's like, actually, a lot of your colleagues disagree with you on that, man. And so, there's going to be... We're going to have to see what happens next week because we're going to finally start getting some real stuff, in terms of where people are at on certain things. And I don't think it's going to be as good as half those barking seals think that it's going to be.
No, as a matter of fact, evidently the internal polling...
I've heard tales of such thing, but I don't really know how much of that exists. So... because if it was good, then it would get leaked. So
that's sort of it. Is that?
Yeah.
The internal polling is supposedly awful.
Well, and like I said, I don't know how much internal polling really exists because, internal polling might be like, okay, we got this like mini focus group that we did in a single place. But it's not like an actual poll. Where they're collecting a sample of like 1,600 people in the county, kind of thing. I don't think they're actually doing
where
that.
You do the actual math.
Where you do the math, yeah. So because if you're going to spend all that time to do the math, and if it looks good, that internal poll just became an external poll, and we're not seeing any of those. So I don't really, yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great because you go on that. Yeah. It's rough, yeah, because that again...
Well, they were having the whole fight last week about the ratings, and stuff like that. And the greatest ratings ever. I was like, I can read a fucking trend line. Okay, all of these are way below 2016. Come on, man. What are you talking about? Let alone, voter turnout in 2012 and 2008. So, it's like, actually, it's not looking that good. You know, and then they were talking about the other thing the other day is like there's a lot of Senate races that are looking like they're leaning Democratic, which is actually what happened back in 2016 because there's a lot of people who are like, well, I don't really want to fucking vote for Donald Trump, but I will. But in order to hedge my bet, I'm going to vote for this guy too. Right. You know? So there's a lot of people who are leaning that way, man. And so because I saw a couple things on that because not a lot of people are paying attention to the Senate or the House. You know, just quite yet. They will probably in about another month. Oh, but
well, this is the big news. You don't pay attention to like Senate and the House stuff until like day of sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, I mean, unless there's a really tight one, or if people start sitting
or
down
your
and doing
local
the math,
one, yeah.
or your local one, yeah. Which we don't have one this year, so we're not getting shit on that. But
no, the only thing that's happened is Aurora, Colorado is being used as a major talking point.
Aurora, Colorado is fucking hilarious right now, man. So, I mean, I don't really get it. Why aren't the cops like, why don't they have this place surrounded and burnt to the ground?
They said they do.
Well, maybe they do. I don't know, man. I mean, 9 News like tells me, you know, like, okay, well, the property manager is actually working on this problem right now with the city council, and the city council is working with Denver because they're the ones who paid these people to be here. So, you know, it's kind of like, well, all right. So, sorry, man. I got my 3 stories on dog. Yeah. I'm bird dogging. I'm barking. These 3 carts that I bark at when they drive by my house. So, you know, when I started looking into this one, my mom was trying to tell me the other day. I was like, oh my god, there's like a fucking platoon of them. And I'm like, Mom, no, it's not like that. But I don't know what's going on, so you gotta let me catch up on it a little bit. So check this out.
Okay, so the few things I saw, right, and this I actually got to do a little contribute on, but not much, right? Because like, all right, so there's 3 stories that I saw there because the footage that they show where like the gangsters are going like fucking door to door collecting the rent instead of the actual like manager. I'm like, well, that seems rough.
That does seem rough.
And the clips of like the lady, she's locking like 5 locks and putting the brace against the door. It's like, I have to do this or they're gonna come in here. It's like, god damn, that looks scary. Then you see the video of like the fucking white guys putting up the signs around there that say basically they say fuck around and find out. So you have,
oh my god, come on, really?
You have the opportunists out there who like the rooftop Koreans were actually defending their shops.
Yeah.
Right? These are dudes who want to shoot somebody.
These are, yeah. I have started to see a few more of those guys spooking around lately, man.
You got the dudes who are just kind of like, no, you know, oh Lord in heaven, I prayed for this day every day. You finally given the opportunity to shoot a minority.
You're giving me my own fucking Ruby Ridge, baby. Yeah. So, I know, man.
And it would be totally justified, oh Lord. Thank you. So you got those fucking weirdos. Then you have there's a one of the like council people out of Aurora. I guess she's whooping it up. Like,
yeah,
she's using this as a major...
I did see her.
It's just, I was like, who is this? It's just like this dumb-looking white woman.
Yeah.
Like, she's whooping it up. So the mayor of Denver was saying, like, look, it's not as bad as they're saying.
Yeah.
She's barking up there. But then they go to the cops, right?
Cops say they have the place surrounded. Yeah.
They have these cops, like, walking around on patrol. Like, but if you're there, you should have, like, 40 guys rounded up and thrown in the thing. Because they're there. You know where they are.
Right.
Right? They say that's like, well, we've arrested like 12 guys. It's like, but you know where the other ones are? Then go get them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's...
Well, that might not be their job. That might be INS, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, would you actually have to, like, commit a crime before they actually got you? I don't know. I don't know the answer
Me
to this.
personally, what I do is I round them all up and I let INS sort that out later.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Because... if they're making a stink that looks like that on Denver, you say, I want this to go away now. Mm-hmm. If we get in trouble for INS, fuck it. Right?
Yeah, obviously the Denver mayor does not agree with that.
He does not.
Yeah.
And this
is he up for election?
I should hope so. That, you know, and so the funny thing was, like, because of my experience with Aurora and yours, I brought up the thing. I was like, well, that was the thing. I was like, look, Mordor. Yeah, I was like, Aurora wasn't exactly a paradise to begin with. Mm-hmm. Turning it over to warlords is probably not an awesome idea. And there were a bunch of people that like from that were so the people that were from Aurora were kind of like, yeah, that's true. right? So people
they all know where this is taking place, man. There's a 16 block like fucking section of Aurora that has always been just shady as fuck, and this is right in the middle of that. So yeah, and everybody knows that. I mean, like most of Aurora is like our town, man. It's 95% of it is fucking cul-de-sac suburbs, and then it's got this one strip. Yeah,
but that's where the problems are.
Yeah, of course, that's where the problems are. But they're not in that suburban neighborhood, so they don't give a fuck.
No,
so yeah,
no. It's like we've talked about with Los Angeles, where it has problems everywhere. It has problems, but mostly there's this area where like, guys, all we can do is fence it off.
Right. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because we don't have.
It's called Venice.
Yeah, we don't have the social tools to be able to do this or this, right? Because we decided after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, everybody was like, well, we can't just, like, this whole asylum thing, it's like, they cut out part of his brain. And they're like, I can't believe Reagan closed. It's like, Reagan wouldn't have wanted to if there wasn't a movement to be like, these are inhumane, blah, 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 blah.
Did he close the asylums in California?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. They say he's partially responsible for it, but his name is tied to it, so he does have that with him, right? Because now there's a lot of people, like right now, where it's like, look, there are plenty of people. It's like you could solve so much of the homeless problem with asylums because that's where they belong. It's like, I'm not going to fight you on this because there's a lot of mentally ill people out there.
Almost all of them. Almost all of them, man.
Because if they weren't, this country has so many programs like, you don't want to be homeless? I got 10 different ways to help you.
Dude, this town is like the shining example. This town has more beds than it has homeless people.
Exactly.
So, it's crazy.
And you got
the first time I had someone to actually sit down and explain all that to me, I was like, well, what the fuck is the problem? Is that they don't want to? Because two things. Number one is you have to get clean and you have to give up your pets. So, and they're like, well, no, they don't want to do that. Especially when they can just walk down Fountain Creek and get into Pueblo, and then they can disappear in the weeds out there for a little bit and then come back. In like 3 weeks or something. They do it all the time. And it's like, that's crazy. That's insane. So, I actually met one of the guys who's like big on that here. And he explained all that to me. He's like, yep, we've got funding, we've got beds, we've got rooms, we've got
places that want to take them as to work.
We got people who, we have people who will absolutely take them to work. And so we have, social services. He's like, anybody who comes in this door, they're getting a brand new set of clothes, all kinds of things like that, but they have to agree to get clean. So, and they won't do it. So, and then the same thing, I was talking to a cop about this, and he's like, there's like 300 homeless people in this town. We know who all of them are.
Right.
We deal with them all the time. So,
And that's the thing is, we had the asylum status that we did in the 70s, that's where they'd be.
They'd be in the asylum. That's correct.
Yes. And they would not be on drugs.
No.
Okay, it ain't going to happen.
No. You ain't going to get it in there. Well, I mean, if you can sneak into prison, you can probably sneak it in there. But
there's that. But, you take care of that stuff. And then the other thing is, like, hey, don't worry about the pets. They have therapy animals.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be taken care of. Like, it's like, therapy's not what it used to be.
No.
Right, it's not.
No, Jeff, they're not going to lobotomize you. Yeah.
And then look, the only Patrick, it's funny. The other tweet that I made this week that got huge fucking traction. All right.
I'm nervous.
It had nothing to do with politics.
Oh, okay.
It had everything to do with somebody posted a little picture of Skyler from Breaking Bad, where she's making that like screaming face.
Yeah,
and basically it was like her like crying about shit.
Yeah, which was what she did.
All right, now all I said was, it's funny. I remember. During this time period when the show was still popular, right? I remember when it was misogynistic just to say she was annoying.
Oh.
Now, and then I said...
Was it back then?
Yes, Patrick.
When the show was actually currently running?
Yes, Patrick.
Oh, see, I don't remember. I remember that became a thing later.
Because...
but I wasn't on Twitter at the time. So
the whole thing... Yes. Because you couldn't mark out how irritating she was because it was always Walter was worse.
Right.
And the whole point I made, and this was the second post I made, was like, remember, my whole claim was annoying. Look at the responses, right? Mm-hmm. And people are going ape shit. Again, it's like, well, she didn't try to poison it. It's like, that's not the point. I just said that she's annoying.
Yeah, she's definitely annoying.
She's incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's annoying as Hank.
She's written that way, though.
That's the point.
They did that on purpose.
That's the point. And the whole thing there was that...
which is why they had to drop the whole Marie thing with the stealing, because it just didn't make sense.
It went nowhere.
Well, right,
yeah,
but
too.
No, you had a character that was already serving as a foil, in that respect, that you didn't need two of them, to do that. So,
well, all I'm saying here is that I thought that those days were behind us, but evidently that sentiment right now has not gone anywhere. It is still within the public consciousness.
Oh, I'm sure it is, man. Yeah,
and it is still a hot topic.
I wouldn't expect that one to go away. I mean, the one thing that, like, with Breaking Bad, it's not as good as I remembered it being.
In some ways, it's better.
In some ways, it's better, but in a lot of ways, it's not as good. And now that it's been blown out, like, they're supposed to have a Gus Fring show now, and it's kind of like...
I'm not interested.
I know, he's going to be like 75 years old. Come on, man.
I'm not interested.
So, yeah, and it's just like, no, it's not this edgy thing that it used to be. I mean, Saul was actually a little bit better because it was decidedly less violent, So... Yes. Well, we've talked about that before. So.
Well, yes. I mean, it's less violent. It's a totally different show.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to say this way. Okay. I didn't think it was going to be good when they were making it because I thought it was going to be a comedy.
What, Saul?
Yes. I thought they were going to make it kind of
better as a comedy. But
well, it had humorous elements.
Oh,
right?
it totally did.
It absolutely did. But at the same time, they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. They went in a different direction. They said, like, all right, what do we have? We have this character. How can we make this, like, cheesy fucking, like, this basically this used car salesman, right, of a character. How can we give him depth and complexity to the point that you like him? It's like this plus, like, 7 new characters. We're going to give them all that treatment.
Yeah, they did.
And it worked really well. And then the few characters that came back, like Mike.
Oh, yeah, they did a great job with him.
They gave him so much more life. It was like, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how
he even did that with Tuco, man. So, and I mean, in the fucking
he was a loser.
In Breaking Bad, he was a cartoon.
Such a... yeah, and that was the thing. They had so much less of the, like, and until they had that dude fucking, like, rocket jump through the roof. They hadn't done any of that shit yet, but, just less of that, like, that cartoony stuff.
Yeah, I did not like him as much as other people. Yeah, he was definitely, he was a little bit more cartoony.
So I was like, well, having him around, it's like it's like what they're doing with Star Wars, where it's like, well, if you have this super powerful character here, then Breaking Bad doesn't happen. Same thing in like when they fuck with Star Wars. I'm like, wait, this person was here?
Why was this a thing then?
Yeah. Why didn't y'all fuck up like Darth Vader? It's that stuff. But yeah, that was the thing. I was like,
oh, Star Wars is dead, dude. It's dead to me.
It's dead to everyone, Patrick.
I know.
They killed it.
They killed it.
Yeah, it's not dead. They killed it.
Yeah. Well, it needs to go back in the freezer for 10 years.
Well,
yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
It goes in the freezer.
Yeah, it goes in the freezer.
You have explicit instructions. It's not just like it's in the freezer. You put a list of names. You say, you guys can't
do not serve this person.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
this person is wanted in all 50 states. Right, yeah, they are not to touch this.
Do not touch.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Skyler was annoying.
Skyler was annoying.
Yeah.
And they wrote her that way on purpose. So
just in the same, they wrote Hank annoying on purpose.
They wrote Jesse as annoying on purpose.
They wrote Jesse as annoying. They wrote Walter as annoying on purpose.
Walter is insufferable in a lot of that series,
Because Walter he has the same trapping as Tony Soprano, where every year you could walk away and you'd be fine. You could walk away and you'd be fine.
It happened to him so many times, man. That's exact parallel.
Is that the shit? Shit writing part where you're like,
that's the shit writing part where that's where Sopranos falls apart because you realize that Tony, it doesn't matter if he gets killed because he's going to get killed someday. So
and it won't be tragic because he never turns the leaf.
Yes, he will. He will deserve it. Yes. Here we go. All right, Tony Soprano deserved it.
Best show ever.
Best show ever.
Yeah,
Anyway,
right.
I'm Pat.
Yeah, I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Yeah.
Deserved it.
Deserved it.